Hi, this is Mark C. Frankel with Wayward Raven Media.
This is Alex Sapwinzis, also of Wayward Raven Media.
And you're listening to the Comic Relief Podcast. Hoorah!
Hey listener, welcome to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Hope you survived the experience.
The Comic Relief Podcast is an unscripted discussion about the pop culture surrounding comic books with your hosts,
Uncanny Thomas Logue
and Mighty Michael Miranda. Alright, today we're talking about games, comic book games. And we're going to be talking about video games, arcade games, tabletop games, you name it, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about every single game known to man in existence. Not really, though. We're going to be talking about games that we've played, that we've loved, and that we have come to know.
And after the podcast, if there's a game that you've played that's related to comics that we didn't mention, tell us about it. Tell us why you like it.
All right, so let's kick things off here, Tom. You want to get started with let's go with consoles, man. How about that?
For console games, it's a long list, because that's where I played a lot of my games.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, to date myself, I had the good old Sega Genesis.
Absolutely, man. Sega Genesis was awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
Because that's where I played the first X-Men game that I know of, which included playable characters like Gambit, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, and Cyclops. That was it.
Is this the one where you had the assistance from other characters?
Yes.
Right? Like Archangel would fly across the screen, and just kill all the enemies. I think Rogue was another one that would swoop down. Yeah, I remember this game. This was a really good game. But every once in a while, and I don't remember what would trigger it. What would trigger it?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I've got it. We should go.
Yeah, we should
just plug it in real quick and see, how do I trigger help?
And check it. But yeah, I remember this game. And I mean, this game came out like when I was deep into comics, man, especially the X-Men. So this was huge. And this was essentially was based around the like the blue and the gold team of the 90s,
yes, it was.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
90s era.
Yeah, totally. And this one had a unique level in it that I think pissed off a lot of people.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the reboot?
The reboot, yeah.
And the best part of the reboot thing is that it was timed. So if you didn't figure out that you had to reset your Sega, you just lose.
When I first played the game, I didn't know that you had to reboot the computer. I didn't understand that.
Right.
I didn't figure it out. So I don't know how, but I got a code that lets you choose the level to start. So I would always start the game on the level.
It was probably on the Game Genie?
It might have been. Or you know what? There was magazines. There was magazines that...
oh, you're right. Like down, up, back,
yeah.
A at the title screen.
Exactly. On that level, you would actually reset your Sega. And would you start on the next level when the Sega came back up?
So essentially what happened is if you press the Sega for the right amount of time, it would actually sequence the game and continue, and that's how you beat it. Because if I remember correctly, that's the end of the game.
No. The Mojo level is like mid-game. That's why I always had to, I didn't know what to do. So I had to find the code to start the game on the next level.
On that next level?
Yeah, and then continue on with the game. Because I think the last guy you fight is either Apocalypse or Magneto. Kudos to the development team for
that really the player.
Yeah. Confusing the hell out of a bunch of kids.
Naturally, you liked it, right? Gambit was a playable character.
That's one of the main reasons.
And then another one, Maiko just played it because I still have my Sega 3, which is like a tiny version of the Sega, is X-Men 2 Clone Wars. To me, this game is superior in every way to the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got, for playable characters, you got Beast, Cyclops, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Psylocke, and Wolverine.
Mm.
And when you get to the third level and beat it, you actually unlock Magneto.
Oh, nice.
So he's an unlockable character.
Oh, very cool.
So,
and you can play the game over as Magneto?
No.
Or you just continue from that point on?
Yeah, because there's no save, so it doesn't. Once you beat it, it doesn't know that you've ever unlocked him. You have to do it all over again.
And this game only came out maybe like a year or two after the first X-Men game, right? Not too long afterwards.
It came out in 1995.
Okay. Yeah, I totally missed this game.
I don't know how.
Yeah, dude, this game, we just played it, and it's awesome. I remember seeing screenshots. Of Psylocke and the snow level, which is the first level.
The first level.
But for some reason, I just totally missed that game.
Me and my friend would literally spend days and days and days, because like I said, there's no save. So literally what we'd do is we'd play until we got to a certain point, pause the game, turn off the TV, and just leave the Sega on.
Mm-hmm.
He'd cruise over the next day, bring some lunch, turn on the TV, unpause the Sega, and continue.
Pick right back up where you started.
Right back up.
Total Mallrats move right
there. It was. It was a lot like it. You just get up, stretch, let's play some hockey.
Pick up right, unpause, pick up right where you left off. It's interesting because when you first start the game, it doesn't allow you to pick a character.
No.
It just gives you a random character, and you just got to play the first level with
who they drop you with.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you you bomb out of the level and you just die, it's just going to kick you down the next. Or do you actually get to?
If you do die, then you get to pick, and that's who you get to pick for the first level.
And then it's also kind of a bummer because you only have so many lives, right?
Yeah, you only have 3. This is why I'm thinking you're right that there were cheat codes in magazines back then. Because I can't imagine that Tim and I made it through X-Men 2 on 3 lives apiece. Yeah. There's just no way I think we did that. We must have grabbed a code, or I had my Game Genie, which I still have, and found a code on a magazine that says, here's how you extend like 50 lives.
Yeah. All right, what else do you guys for us as far as consoles go?
Next, in 1994, I played X-Men Mutant Apocalypse.
Nice.
This is kind of like the game that we just played. It's pretty much just a side-scroller. And it had essentially the same cast as X-Men 2. We have Beast, Cyclops, Gambit, Psylocke, and Wolverine, except no Nightcrawler.
Okay, now I don't remember this game. Was this for the Super Nintendo or was this
for the Genesis? I don't remember if it was Super Nintendo or Nintendo.
I'm looking at some screenshots, and I do remember this game, actually. I do remember. I never played it.
So this is like X-Men 2. You remember the screenshots, just never played it. No, for this one,
I remember the box art. It's like it was based on the animated series. Launched around that time at the peak of the animated series.
The one that I actually spent a lot of time on, even though I suck at it, was in 1994. They came out with X-Men, Children of the Atom.
Did you play anything other than X-Men games, dude?
No. Back in the 90s, that's all I cared about was the X-Men. X-Men and Avengers, but I was really into the X-Men.
Oh, the X-Men were hot then too, man. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, when I look at this list, like literally, you're gonna go, dude, did you play anything other than the like? If they just put the name X-Men on it, I bought it.
Yeah, I'm still that way.
It had people like Colossus, Cyclops, Iceman, Psylocke, Storm, Wolverine, who you can play as heroes.
Absolutely.
What was cool is they had villains you could play, which included Omega Red, which in the 90s I was really into Omega Red. You know, after X-Men number 4, I was like, yes, Omega Red, awesome character.
No, this was pretty cool because this game was like the X-Men version of Street Fighter. I mean, it was developed by Capcom. Yeah, absolutely. So it was a clean game, great graphics, very smooth. I mean, it was. I got to imagine this has got to be one of the better fighting games for that time, right?
For that time, yeah,
absolutely.
Plus, it was just a chance for people who played Street Fighter to kick the ass of people who never really played Street Fighter but played this game because it was an X-Men game.
Yeah.
Not that I'm speaking from experience. Little kids kicked my all the time.
Oh yeah, no, I always loved playing this game, but I just wasn't. I was never good at fighting games in general, dude.
You kick my ass every time we play Injustice. Every time. He and I would like test it. We'll talk about it later, but in Injustice, we'll kick back, play a few rounds. Every single time, Michael won. Yeah. The dude who's like, I'm not very good, but I kicked your ass every time.
I thought he was letting me win. No. You know what I mean? But no.
I was like, I was really trying to win.
Another unique thing about this game is that it introduced ground breaks, where you would break the level and go to like a sub level of that level. Yeah. So this was the first game to do that, which was pretty cool.
Yes. Going Back 2 was available to play. Like I said, we had Omega Red, we had the Sentinel, which was cool. Yeah. Silver Samurai, of course.
Yeah.
Spiral, Juggernaut, and Magneto.
Great choice of characters and villains, man. Yeah. It's so strange, so unique. I don't know, man. Like, I see this and I think Capcom, I'm not sure if they were very familiar with the Marvel license when they saw this. And I'm just totally assuming here. You look at this list and you think, wow, why would they pick Spiral? Yeah. You know what I mean? It looks like they saw just images of these characters and thought, that's a cool character. That's a cool character. That's a cool character. That's a cool character. You know what I mean? And went with it.
Yeah.
And then you'll see that throughout all the other Capcom games that included the Marvel characters. It's like, why?
Yeah, some of the characters that you put in.
Characters, yeah, like Blackheart and Shuma Gorath, and it's like, wow, that's cool. It worked out great.
And then here's one that I know we both played. Came out in the year 2000. X-Men Academy.
Yes, another fighting game.
Yes, another fighting game. But this time, it doesn't look like Street Fighter. They actually look like regular comic book style art.
Yeah.
It was completely inferior to the Street Fighter game. Yeah.
Unfortunately, once you play a Capcom fighter game, anything else is just
very difficult
rough.
To compare.
And this was made strictly for I think it's the PlayStation or the PlayStation, right?
Yep, the PSP also.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a bit limited, and it showed.
And what's weird is for a game that came out out in the year 2000, your playable characters were Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, Beast, and Phoenix, and that's it.
Yeah, that was it.
You know, like on a game that was a PlayStation, you figured they could have chalked in like 12 characters to
Yeah,
throw in.
at least. There was a storyline that went to this, right?
Yes.
You were kind of going through the storyline. Yeah, I remember. You buy it, you're super excited to play it. The cover art's cool. You get home
Yeah,
and
it's just
like,
Mystique.
yeah,
Kick
yeah.
in.
And like 20 minutes into it, you're just, you're done.
Yeah, you already picked up another game and put it in there.
Yeah.
There was a X-Men Mutant Academy 2.
I can't believe they made a sequel, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if it must have just sold just on the name alone
Yeah.
to guys like us.
So, yeah, to cater to people like you and I.
Absolutely.
I actually never got it, and I never played it because I didn't like the first one.
I had the exact same reaction. I didn't even know there was a part 2. I probably wouldn't have picked it up. Can't burn me twice on it.
Yeah. Fool me once, and whatever that saying
Yeah,
is. Fool
yeah.
me twice, and I should be kicked.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the next game I got was X-Men Destiny. Did you ever try this one on the 360?
X-Men Destiny. No, I did not.
So this game, you have basically a choice between 3 characters, and you're a new mutant.
Oh, I do remember. That turned me off to it, that you weren't able to play
An actual existing character.
Yeah, you had to essentially they were trying to do Knights of the Old Republic, choose a dark side, choose a light side.
Yes, that's exactly
right.
it.
Yeah.
You should go back and play it.
It's good?
When I initially started it, I was like, oh, I'm just this random dude.
Yeah.
And when I played it, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a whirl. You know, it is like Knights of the Old Republic. Cyclops say, hey, we need your help over here. And then Mystique comes up to you and is like, hey, we need your help over here.
Mhm.
And you kind of choose. But what I do like is as you go and as you progress and as you level, you start picking different trees. So, you know, you pick this power tree that you say, oh, I'm going to pick, you know, like Dark Force.
Okay.
And when you get a couple levels and then you unlock this part of this
Mhm.
Dark Force or this, and you have, it starts, you know, doing the chain where you can do all these different powers
Yeah.
based on what you pick. So it's actually kind of cool. And you put points into those powers to make them more powerful.
Mhm.
It was actually really cool to basically create a new character. And the storyline is actually fairly good. You know, they
Mhm.
involve all these different characters and you get to basically develop this character in the
Mhm.
middle of this storyline. So I kind of like it because you're not forced to be Wolverine. You already know Wolverine's story. You
Yeah.
already know everything he can do.
Mhm.
You're making this new guy and interacting with all these
Mhm.
characters. So you feel kind of important.
Huh. Does the story change and do other characters react differently to you as you choose a side?
Not really. That's the only thing that I didn't like. That's where it falls short of Knights of the Old Republic. You know,
Mhm.
there isn't a lot of consequence. You know, if you go help Mystique, Cyclops might say something, but it's not like he's going to be like, oh, I don't want to deal with you anymore because
Yeah.
you ruined your faction with the X-Men.
Yeah. But it's still worth another look. It was
I would.
decent.
I would.
Huh. I'll check
Yeah,
it
and
out.
it was on the Xbox 360.
Cool.
So-
Yeah, I'm not opposed to going back and like picking up old games that I may have passed on.
Yeah.
Especially now the game might probably be like a bargain bin type
Yeah,
thing.
it's probably, especially with the Xbox
Yeah.
One out now.
Yeah.
All those Xbox 360 games are going to be
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very cheap.
Cleaning up. Good list so far, dude. What else do you got for us? What other X-Men games are there?
Well, this time, ironically, that's where the X-Men titles stop for me.
That's where you stop playing X-Men.
That's it. I'm done.
You grew a beard. No more X-Men.
No more
games.
X-Men.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a hobo.
Yeah.
So in 2005, there was a game called Marvel Rise of the Imperfects. Did you ever play it?
No. Wow. What is this?
Yeah, so I played it maybe for about an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't remember much of it.
Oh, is that good? Huh?
It was that good. I mean, I didn't like it. It was this weird tie-in between Marvel and someone else. I can't remember who the other company is.
Rise of the Imperfects. I don't remember that game at all.
Thing is fighting off like these alien creature type things.
I remember this game on the PSP. Yeah, one of my cousins had it on the PSP. Yes, I do remember this. It was, yeah, you're right. It was kind of like, it's all right, but
Yeah.
it didn't really grab, like,
My
didn't really
attention.
make me want to go out and like buy it or anything
Right.
like that. It was just,
Unfortunately, I did because it had Marvel in it.
Yeah.
You know, this time I'd progressed from just X-Men
Oh, you have
titles
a
to
beard now,
Marvel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was another game I played. So if anyone's played that game and you really like it, I'd love to hear why you like it and
Mhm.
try to convince me on it. The next one I know you've played. And if you haven't, the podcast is over. You're going home
Uh-huh.
now. So the next one is Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Ultimate Alliance 2.
Oh man.
See.
Let's take it back to X-Men Legends, dude. This
You
is
want to
where-
go? Okay, you have
this-
something before?
yeah, I want to go back to X-Men Legends.
All right,
man.
bring it.
I remember picking this up. Now these games are all very similar. They're all developed by, I think it was Raven Software.
Raven. Yes.
Except for Ultimate Alliance 2, it wasn't Raven, but they kept the same format for the most part. You pick 4 characters, and it's kind of like a dungeon crawling action RPG,
Yeah, the
right?
top
Where
view.
it's like top-down view. Very, very good game, man. Very fun.
There was the Legends too, right?
There was an X-Men Legends 2, which was when Rise of Apocalypse game, which is funny because the X-Men Legends 2 came out like I think within the same year of X-Men Legends 1. So
Wow.
they like capitalized on it. And it was still good. I mean, these games kept their quality up until the Ultimate Alliance when they finally went into they didn't want to do an X-Men 3. They said we're going to do a Marvel universe.
Right.
And so it all started with X-Men Legends, which was an excellent game, man, because you had a lot of characters to choose from, and then you had to like unlock. Every character had like multiple costumes that you would unlock.
I love when they do that.
Oh my god!
I'm a sucker for the alternate costumes.
A sucker for that, dude. Yeah. And then what's cool was that the Ultimate Alliance would give you bonuses for teaming up characters that had like something in common, right?
Yeah, in Ultimate Alliance.
Yes, in Ultimate Alliance,
Yes.
which was just for example, if you teamed up with Fantastic Four,
Fantastic
they would
Four.
get like a certain percentage towards
XP bonus and stuff
XP
like that.
bonus. Yeah, then you'd group together like X-Men,
Mhm.
and that would give you a different bonus. That's just like plays towards like the geek.
The geek,
It was
yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Did you know that the X-Men Legends the story was written by the Man of Action? I don't know if you are familiar with the Man of Action.
Mm-mm.
It's a group of formal Marvel writers that have kind of grouped up and became a writing team. I think it's Duncan Rouleau, Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, and Steven Seagal are Man of Action. I'm not sure if they're the same guys. Man of Action may have changed or whatever, but dude, Ultimate Alliance was a legit game.
Yeah, that one I played for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Forget it. Yeah. And then you would like find like dolls or something within the level, and you could collect 4 Daredevil dolls or 4 Black Panther dolls, and then you would unlock Daredevil and Black Panther. It's like that's perfect, man. Keep me playing this game over and over,
looking for this freaking doll.
Exactly. I would beat it.
I'm gonna smash every barrel.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And then like in I think in the Ultimate Alliance, or maybe it was X-Men Legends, if you played certain characters within the storyline, the dialogue would change.
Yes.
So if there was,
they did it in Ultimate Alliance. I know they did that.
Yeah. Where if you had certain characters and the enemy was a certain enemy, the dialogue would be specific to their relationship. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool. They did a really good job with that game.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it.
Beta Ray Bill, who I actually really love, was one of the alternate costumes of Thor.
Yes.
And I remember once I got him, that's all I had played.
That's all you played?
He was always on my team. Like him and then 3 other people.
Yeah. And what I love is that every character had 3 alternate costumes. So it's not like one guy had a dozen and one guy had one or two.
Right.
So once you found your 3 alternate costumes for this specific character, you just hopped on the next one.
Start working the next one.
Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. It was so cool. And then you'd have your guys all in the costumes that you like them in. And
Yes.
It was like totally playing dolls, dude.
Yeah, that's it's pretty much digital dolls.
Digital dolls, man. It was
That's
perfect.
that's a good way to look at it, because
And-
that's really what it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to dress up my hero how I want him,
Yeah, how I want
and the rest of my team, and we're going to go play.
And we're gonna go play Tea Party. Absolutely. And the second Ultimate Alliance was based on the Civil War storyline.
Civil War.
too.
What I liked about that is Evan, and I'm probably mispronouncing his last name, Skolnick.
Mhm.
He wrote like the second half of the New Warriors after Fabian left. He has frequently come onto my website at newwarriors.com.
Go
visit it.
newwarriors.com.
Yeah, visit it. Newwarriors.com. He would go on the forum and he started talking about how he was working on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2.
Oh, nice.
And he said, that we can expect a surprise, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, Speedball, who was part of the whole Civil War thing, became Penance, and he's one of the main villains you fight in Ultimate Alliance 2. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Nice. So you got like the heads up on that,
Yeah,
right?
got the heads up.
Dude, very cool. Very cool.
The next one I have on my list, we go back to the X-Men. Imagine
Surprise.
that. Surprise.
Who'd have thunk it?
And this is one that I know you've actually played, and you actually already beat it, and I haven't yet, which is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh my goodness, this game. Okay, so every once in a while the movie comes out and there's like a guaranteed game tie-in for it.
All the
And
time.
Usually,
Especially nowadays.
Usually they suck. They suck bad. They're kind of made by some companies that really have no business making these. It's just a license, you know what I mean? They just want to capitalize on the movie coming out. Every once in a while, man, you'll pick up a game like X-Men Origins Wolverine that is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get very far.
Now, do you have I think it's the Unleashed version, right?
I don't know what version I have.
Uncaged. There's an Uncaged edition. So they released the game, and it was pretty popular. It did pretty well. So
It's
got
Wolverine. Of course it did well.
Yeah. No, but I mean, okay, go back to the first X-Men, or maybe it was the second X-Men movie. They did an X-Men game on that license with those movie characters.
Oh yeah,
It was bad. And I mean, Hugh Jackman was all over that thing. This game, on the other hand, it captured the essence of Wolverine really well.
That it did. I'll
Yeah.
give you that. It really did.
It was really gory, really bloody. And I'm not sure if it's just because I played the Uncaged edition, because that's what the Uncaged edition was. It cranked up the gore.
Okay.
I remember like where you could like impale enemies in like the environments and spikes and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, it was like, ooh, that is brutal, dude. But thumbs up, man. I wasn't expecting much out of the game, and that's a great game. If you haven't played it, I really highly recommend. I mean, I have recommended it to a few people, and they've come back and said, yeah, I wasn't expecting that to be a good game. Yeah, it was a good game.
We have plenty of other games to talk about, but we're probably going to save that for another podcast. We have Maiko doing an interview with Mark and Alex from Wayward Raven.
All right, so you guys got 8 days to go on your Kickstarter, huh?
Oh man, coming right down to the wire.
Dude, right down to the wire. You know what? Let's go ahead and just get into this. So we're here with Mark Frankel, creator, CEO, and COO with Wayward Raven Media, and we also have Alex Apunzis, creative director and web gremlin with Wayward Raven Media. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. We're doing great. San Diego's on fire. I don't know if you guys have heard the news or watched the news. We're burning up down here.
Both figuratively and literally, huh?
Yeah, the North County is all ablaze, but it seems like they have it under control now.
That's good. I think I'll wait till winter to visit then, perhaps.
Right on. So, all right, guys. So tell me about Wayward Raven Media. Where did you guys come up with the idea to start your own company?
It kind of evolved out of our third partner, Joshua L.A. Jones, who's also our editor-in-chief. He and I have been kind of writing and talking, and we actually decided one day, he was a novelist. I did lots of short stories that we wanted to try to write together. And we started out trying to write stage plays, actually. And, I hate to admit it, I'm loath to admit it, they weren't all that great.
Horrible.
Well, what kind of plays were you guys writing? Were you guys writing comedies, dramas?
Comedies, dramas, a little bit of both. And we've always kind of had this bend towards the supernatural, mythology, that sort of stuff. And a lot of them ended up kind of that way. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, that's just not a lot of the stuff that folks who go to plays look for. So, I think we naturally transitioned to comics because of that. And suddenly the comics got much better because it made sense. And so we kind of got together writing comics. Then we transitioned some of that stuff. We actually hooked up with Alex too. He and I had met and we started talking comics, and next thing I know, he's drawn a webcomic, I'm writing a webcomic. And so we had this other property. We had 2 titles and then now a 3rd title. And it actually all kind of came together and took off at New York Comic Con, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. So out of all the comics that you guys have, I'm looking at your catalog here on Store Envy. Which was the first comic that you guys started working on?
Horseman. Actually, technically, I should say the first one that Josh and I wrote isn't available yet. It's part of the signed series. It's actually signed O. We decided we want to launch C first. It's in the can. It's kind of ready to rock and roll. We just got to find the right person for it. So Horseman was kind of the second one we did, and then the Ascendant, then Signed.
Okay, now let's talk about Signed. You guys have a Kickstarter going for Signed. We're getting towards the end of the Kickstarter there. Tell me about the story. Now, this is the Kickstarter for the 2nd issue, right?
Yes. First one's out already. Essentially, as I tell people, young women go missing all the time, but seldom do they have the most badass sorceress of all time. Quite literally willing to go to heaven and earth and anywhere else she needs to go to track her client down and bring her back safe. It's a little bit Clash of the Titans meets Supernatural meets Sam Spade detective story. It's interesting. So the first one's out. We're trying to actually get some funding for the 2nd issue, and so really what it's about is the print run and just paying the artists. And we've asked for a very little amount. Actually, it's only $2,400. As of right now, we're about $157 shy.
Black fast.
With 8 days left, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do it now. Take some stress off of me.
Absolutely. Get on there. Do this. So in the story though, the main heroine is essentially a private investigator?
I think that's kind of how it ends up happening, but she's actually a talent agent. And so that's really her job. That's her thing when you talk about Signed, her piece of quote unquote Signed is quite literally, signing talent. And she's very protective of that talent. You'll even see in one of these issues, the muses are arriving reliable talent agency. She's very, protective of her clients and very, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess,
Territorial?
Territorial is a perfect word. Absolutely. And so that's kind of where it evolves from. She's not really a detective, but she's kind of playing the part.
Now, is her name C? I'm sorry, explain the title to me and how it works in with the character, please.
Sure. So Signed is the overall kind of fictive universe, much like Fables is the overall fictive universe, but C the Missing is the actual title of the book. And C is her name. She goes by C. She goes by CC. As the series goes on, you will learn her true name. And I'm sure you could probably think of a couple things in mythology that might align with that. You will see that as time goes on.
She is not Cthulhu. That's not what the C stands for.
Yeah, I'm sure you just disappointed a lot of people right now. Cthulhu seems to be really popular right now. I don't know why. Everyone's all about Cthulhu shirts and Cthulhu cards and Cthulhu. I mean,
there's even like a Cthulhu role-playing game on iOS that I've had for a few years. It's like 8-bit style. Pretty cool, actually. It's Cthulhu saves the world. Cthulhu gets summoned forth, but then like some unseen force takes his power away, and he's forced to be a good guy to try to regain his powers. And it's really, it's like very tongue-in-cheek about like the old 8-bit and 16-bit role-playing games. It's really fun.
So your artist on Signed C is was it Joshua?
No, so in this case it's Wayne Brown, and he's been doing a fantastic job. He signed up for the whole run. It's a 6-book run. He is actually in the process of doing book 4 right now. Book 2 is done. It's in the can. It's ready to rock and roll. That's why we put that one up there. But book 3 is actually fully inked, and he's been working on book 4. So we probably got to get in the stick and get out to our colorist, but yeah.
And do you guys see The Missing as an ongoing series, or do you have a arc in mind and are going to keep it limited?
Yeah, no, we like things to end, whereas I think we could draw from the characters in the universe, and we'll continue to use the Signed universe for other things, but no, the series is definitely going to end.
And are you guys going to keep the theme of the letter in the title? I know you mentioned O.
Yep.
Signed O, so you guys are going to keep that theme going?
Absolutely.
And do you guys have any other Kickstarters planned or anything coming out along with See the Missing, or is it right now the focus on See the Missing?
I think he's got Kickstarter fatigue.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know if I can do it again. It's it's fun, it's interesting, but it's very harrowing. It's like oh come on, just and we're right here at like $157, and I'm looking at it just going, come on, just a couple more backers, just get me there. Let me sleep at night. So some
people spend more on coffee than for our Kickstarters.
Yeah. What's killing me too is we've got some really great stuff up there. There's I don't know if you know who Matt Fletcher is, but he did the cover for our Horseman issue 2. We've actually committed to putting up a very limited print run, just 10 signed and numbered of that cover that he's gonna sign and number. So there's some cool stuff up there like that. There's some really cool artwork by Wayne. That's one of those things that people really, really like to get is the original stuff. So, those are the things I'd love to see kind of get out there and do really, really well.
Okay, and where can folks go to back your book?
Going right to Kickstarter and plugging in Wayward Raven. That'll get you there. If you plug in Sign, that will get you there. There's this great picture of the cover of issue 3 with C and a sword and a red background. It's pretty distinctive. Wayne did an awesome job on that.
Cool. And where else can folks find you? Do you guys have an online presence, Facebook, Twitter?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can go to @Wayward Raven. You can find me at Panther Pit. You can find Alex at A Sapunzis.
If you can spell it.
If you can spell it. It only took me about 2 years to pronounce it right.
Actually, to plug something else that we do, the easiest way to find me is if you go to waywardraven.com or on damnheroes.com. I have a follow link on that, and that's much easier to spell than my last name.
What's Damn Heroes?
So Damn Heroes is actually a webcomic that I draw and Mark writes, and tied into the Kickstarter. That's actually one of the rewards that we're giving people. Is in Damn Heroes is a weekly webcomic about superheroes. It's just kind of poking fun at the superhero genre and just pop culture. And whereas most of our books are limited series, this is actually an ongoing title. We've been doing it for like almost 2 years now. And the premise is a guy goes 5 miles over the speed limit in a town full of superheroes and has to do 5 years of community service. His landlord is a supervillain, and his parole officer, for lack of a better word, is a superhero.
So Damn Heroes, you guys write it in a like a comic strip format, right?
I was actually thinking that would be another possible Kickstarter, but I don't know. I think maybe we're too tired
You're
of that.
You're on your own, dude.
Now, do you guys plan on doing any more convention?
We've got a whole schedule planned out this year. We just did Asbury Park, and for Free Comic Book Day, we were over at Alternate Universe in Milford. So we had a great time there, and then the rest of our schedule actually we'll be up at Hartford Comic Con at the end of this month. We will be at both New York Comic Fest and New York Comic Con special edition at the same time. Alex is going one way, I'm going another way. Josh is coming with me. I think we may have James Emmett, who was someone we just signed, to go with Alex. So I think we're going to have a pretty good setup there. We'll be at Heroes Con, Boston Comic Con. We'll be at Comic-Con, which is here in Connecticut, and then New York Comic Con.
Right on. Well, go check them out. Follow them on Twitter at Wayward Raven Media. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Facebook.com/Wayward Raven Media. WaywardRaven.com. You can also back their Kickstarter by doing a search for Wayward Raven. Back it. I'm not even asking nicely. Just do it. You can put in sign C and it'll come up. That's correct, right?
That is correct. Probably the easiest way. I know Wayward Raven's probably the easiest.
Just Google Wayward Raven and you'll see all their hits for all their stuff. You can also check out their some of their stuff on damnheroes.com. So get out there, say hi to them at the conventions, back their Kickstarter, and thank you very much, guys, for coming on and talking to me.
Oh, thanks for having us. This is great.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
We'll hope you join us next time as we continue to discuss all things comic book related.
And until then, make mine Marvel
And DC.
and independent.
Don't forget to check us out at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast, or go to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. And finally, there is our Twitter page, which is twitter.com/Comic Relief PODC. I'd like to give a special shout out to Travis Richards, who did the music for the Comic Relief Podcast. Visit his website at www.travisarichards.com.